Good evening, gentlemen. It's Active Aussie here, 6:40 p.m. Tuesday night. Just a fairly brief video, about 4 or 5 minutes. This is my second take. Tried to make the video a bit earlier. I was up near the arterial road, not far from my place, but there was a bit of interference and distortion. So, just trying again now. This morning I was at a small cafe not far from my apartment, just went to a different one for a change and just got a cappuccino and a small brekkie wrap. And sometimes when you're sitting in a cafe or a restaurant, you can overhear and eavesdrop on some conversations, and it can give you an insight into some aspects of what's occurring within our current society. And there were three guys in there. I think they were either electricians or plumbers, I'm not sure. They had their vests on. They were some type of tradesman anyway. And I overheard the end portion of one of these conversations, and this guy was talking about, I think it was a friend of his wife, and he was talking about how she's not very frugal in regard to spending. And the other guy said, oh yeah, a lot of women nowadays, they're still very irresponsible when it comes to money, and a lot of them are spend thrifts. And he said it's more like a sheconomy sometimes, not an economy. And I've heard that phrase before, that some guys have said this: we're living in a sheconomy, because, as some other red pill guys have mentioned before, women are responsible for spending the majority of disposable income within our society. And although there is a cost of living crisis in many places, including here in Australia, there are still some people around who have quite a bit of disposable income. And it's mostly women who end up spending a lot of that, and a lot of it is spent on products that just trinkets that just end up in a landfill. So a lot of money is being wasted, and I feel that if our savings rates increased in general in society, we'd have a lot less problems. It would have an effect in regard to things like inflation, interest rates, inflation. It would be good for the environment. A lot of things would improve if the savings rate were to increase. And I also feel that it's really about time men in general start holding women accountable. We're starting to see anti-simping movements appearing in places like South Korea and China, and this is really overdue, and it's about time it occurred. And men need to step up and start asking women, what do you bring to the table? For example, do you have a house? Do you have a car? Do you have any investments? Do you have your own business? Or just ask these gals, do you have any sort of direction in your life? I'm not saying these women have to have multiple degrees, like have a master's degree or a PhD or any of that nonsense, because as I've said before, men don't care about that sort of thing. But I've always liked a woman who has some sort of purpose and some sort of direction in her life. But a lot of gals just seem to be rudderless nowadays, or they have some sort of useless degree that's of no benefit to them. I know some men also have this, but it seems to be more the case for women. So going into the future, into 2025 and beyond, men are going to need to be a lot more assertive. That's the guys who are still in, you could say, still in the dating game, like non-red pill, non-MGTOW type guys. they can either become MGTOW, or if they don't want to do that, they're really going to have to be assertive, make these women accountable and responsible for their actions, and make sure they have something to offer, because it's become totally almost a one-way street, and that situation should not exist nowadays. We have to swing the pendulum back to how it used to be to some extent. I feel we're not going to go back to the 1970s or the 1980s, but we need to have a much more level sort of playing field, and there needs to be a pushback against wokeism, cultural Marxism, that sort of thing. That's about all I really want to speak about tonight. I have been quite busy the last day and a half. Was with my mother yesterday. Had to take her to a cardiologist, and it took quite a long time. Took several hours. Then she had to go to the chemist after that, and even that took an hour. A lot of people, both at the hospital and at the pharmacy. So I wasted a lot of time yesterday, and today I was just doing a bit of gardening and mowing. So it was a calm day today, so it was a good time, a good day to get out into the garden. That's about all for now. I'm still planning on going overseas, but it won't be until at least the end of September, but I'll definitely be going over to Southeast Asia, and I'll be making some videos over there. Just got to make sure I have enough funds, and still got to wait a little bit to get access to those funds, but it will happen eventually. So I'm looking forward to be able to travel a little bit. It'll be really great. That's all for now, guys, and thanks for listening as usual. I always appreciate it. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.